The purpose of these lessons is to show you the logic behind the most basic Chinese characters, beginning with the simplest pictograms, and later combining these elements to create more complex characters. Today's lesson includes 7 characters, all of which contain a similar-looking 3 horizontal strokes. The first character is the simplest, 3 horizontal lines representing the number 3, pronounced first tone, san, san. We've already seen how to express January, February, October, November, and December in Mandarin by giving them a number, 1, 2, 10, 11, and 12. Now we have month number 3, or March, 三月, 三月. The next character is 3 horizontal lines with a central vertical stroke, originally considered to be a symbol of heaven above, earth below, and the powerful human being linking both in the center, the king. That's a rather fanciful explanation, the actual meaning being an axe used in battle, signifying the power that a ruler wields over his subjects. This character is pronounced second tone, Wang, Wang. If that pronunciation sounds familiar, as in a common Chinese family name, you would be right. As in English, king, Wang in Chinese is also a surname. In Chinese movies and traditional soap operas, you will often hear underlings address the king as Da Wang, Your Majesty. A queen would be Nu Wang, and a prince, the future king, is Wang Zi. The famous story by Saint-Exupéry, The Little Prince, translates as Xiao Wangzi in Mandarin. The third character in today's lesson looks like king with a dot on top. It's actually an oil lamp with the dot representing the flame, pronounced third tone, zhu, zhu. Since the flame and its radiant light are essential to the purpose of a lamp, this character, as an adjective, means primary, chief, main. As a noun, translates as master, lord, or host, and as a verb, means to take charge of, preside over, or to officiate at some ceremony or event. As I've said many times in these lessons, single Chinese characters might be misunderstood in speaking, so the most common adjective for primary, chief, or main is 主要, 主要. In combination with goal or objective, we have the phrase 主要目的, meaning our major objective. The expression for mainstream, as in mainstream media or mainstream culture, is a direct translation, 主流, 主流. When referring to a host at a formal dinner, or a master and his dog, the appropriate expression is 主人, or its feminine counterpart, 女主人. And then we come to religion. The word used by Protestant denominations for God or Lord, or the word for Allah in Islam, is simply 主. Catholics, on the other hand, prefer to say 天主, Heavenly Lord. As an aside, Jesus Christ is translated as 耶稣基督. 耶稣 is easy enough to decipher as 耶稣 or Jésus in Western languages, but Christ, the Anointed One in Greek, is rendered as 基督, fundamental overseer or basic governor in Chinese, which seems somewhat odd to me. Why not just transliterate the whole thing and say 耶稣克里斯督? Anyway, Protestants are called followers of 基督, whereas Catholics are called followers of 天主, as if they worship different gods. In other words, in the Chinese language at least, the word Christian is not applied to Catholics. That factoid might please some in the fundamentalist crowd, but it confused me at first when Chinese people asked me what religion I was brought up in. When I replied, Christian, they guessed I was Presbyterian or Methodist, the two most common denominations here in Taiwan. When I clarified that I was brought up Catholic, they didn't seem to realize that Catholics are also Christians. Back to the lesson. Today's fourth character looks exactly like King, Wang, but with an added side dot to differentiate the two. It's a pictogram of 3 pieces of jade strung together, pronounced fourth tone, yu, yu. This pictogram, without the dot, appears as a radical in many characters, so if you see what looks like king as part of another character, 99% of the time it's actually jade. The other characters in today's lesson bear this out. The tallest mountain in Taiwan is called Jade Mountain, Yushan. It's just short of 4,000 meters above sea level, or 13,000 feet. A polite reference to someone's daughter is Yunü, which, in other contexts, would mean a young and beautiful girl. Yusou refers to a lady's hands, and is often found in advertisements, either for elegant jewelry or more mundane things such as dishwashing liquid, which will not leave your yusou with rough, chapped hands. Of course, as in most languages, these polite references can be used humorously. Now we move on to 3 characters that include the jade radical. If you recall, in Lesson 13, we learned the character for beginning, first, or original, yuan. Now, in this lesson, we have yuan combined with jade to create a new character, usually pronounced second tone, wan, wan, and generally translated as to play in English. The original meaning was to play with or fondle jade ornaments, perhaps the first thing one reached for when bored, or jaded in English. Now, the English and Chinese are not related, but you can remember them that way. In English, the word play makes us think of little children. Can Johnny come out and play? Or possibly a game or sport. Play chess, play baseball. But when Chinese people invite you to their home to play, they're usually inviting you to meet their family and friends for conversation, snacks, or even a full-course meal. Not at all the idea of childish play that pops into an English speaker's mind. So, when a Chinese person of any age says they want to 出去玩, they intend to go out and have a good time. That's all. Another example would be a person going on vacation. 他在日本玩了3天. She spent 3 days in Japan. It could have been nothing but 3 days of sightseeing for all we know. 好玩 means entertaining or a lot of fun. But when 好 changes to fourth tone, 好玩, it has become a verb, meaning to love to have fun or to play around, especially children. 玩 is a split sound character, as it's also pronounced fourth tone. 玩, 玩. An example is the expression for antique or curio, 古玩, literally, old things to amuse oneself. In Lesson 19, we learned the character for to open, 开, in which the double hand component appears. This double hand also figures in our next character, depicting 2 hands playing with pieces of jade. This character is pronounced fourth tone, 弄, 弄, and means to handle or play with something, to mock or make fun of someone. If we see a child touching or handling something we would rather they not, we could say to them, 不要弄它, stop fiddling with it. This command could also apply to someone who's provoking a dog or cat, causing them to bark or hiss, basically meaning, leave the cat or dog alone. 不要弄它. Sometimes when speaking, we can't think of a proper verb to use when a person is adjusting or repairing an appliance for us. In this case, 弄 comes in handy. 弄好了没有? Is it fixed yet? Is it ready to go? 弄 can also be used in conjunction with 玩 弄, meaning to toy with words, resort to schemes or tricks, play a prank or practical joke on someone. Our seventh and final character combines to enter, 入, from lesson 12 with jade to create the new ideogram pronounced second tone, 传 The original ideogram suggests putting one's finest jade objects away for safekeeping, which gave rise to its current meaning of perfect, intact, whole, entire, or as a verb, to keep something whole and intact. For example, 他们一家全去了. Their whole family went. Literally, their one family all went. A person who is 全才 is well-rounded and versatile, originally referring to a scholar who was also a capable warrior, both good with words and a sword. Nowadays, the warrior part can be ignored as long as he or she possesses other talents. 全能 is another phrase meaning all-powerful, whether referring to gods or mortals. 地主是全能的. Landowners are all-powerful. When combined with 1 from lesson 13, we can create the expression completely, fully, entirely. 完全. Here are 3 example sentences. 她完全不要. She totally refuses, or she doesn't want any of it. 她的腰没有完全好. His lower back hasn't completely recovered or fully healed. 他书没有背完全, meaning he didn't memorize the whole passage. Notice the structure of subject plus topic plus comment. 他 the subject, 书 the topic, and 没有背完全 is the comment about the topic. Also notice that I translate 书 as passage instead of book, because 背书 is a Chinese verb-object compound, clarifying which 背 is intended. Again, Chinese is full of homonyms. By adding 书, the character 背 becomes clear, meaning to memorize, and not necessarily only books, because 书 can mean any type of writing. Here is our color chart with today's 7 characters. 三 王 主 yu 完 弄 and 全. So, what have we learned in today's lesson? 1. The number 3, 三, consists of 3 horizontal strokes. March is month number 3, 三月. 2. A battle axe was chosen to represent the king, Wang, and the power he wields. Wang is also a common Chinese surname. 3. 大王 is used to address the king. A queen is 女王, and a prince is 王子. 4. The character for master, lord, or host, and the verb to preside over a ceremony is 主, represented by the flame of an oil lamp. The adjective for main, principal, or most important is 主要. 5. A host or master is 主人, and its female equivalent is 女主人. When applied to religion, 主 means God or Lord for Protestants, Allah for Muslims, while 天主 means God or Lord for Chinese Catholics. 6. Jesus Christ is pronounced 耶稣基督. Protestants are called followers of 基督. Catholics, followers of 天主. Interestingly, the word for Christian is not applied to Catholics. Muslims are called followers of Islam, Islam being the transliteration of Islam. You will notice that Mandarin does not have any syllable ending in an M sound, so lan is used instead. 7. The character for jade, yu, looks exactly like king, wang, but includes a dot on the lower right to make a distinction. In combination, however, the jade radical always drops that extra dot. 8. The Chinese character wan is often translated as to play in English, but remember that wan is not limited to children or fun and games. 出去玩 could mean going to see a movie with friends, having dinner at a restaurant, or simply taking the dog for a walk in the park. In other words, any leisure activity. 9. 好玩 means entertaining or a lot of fun, but fourth tone 好玩 is a verb, meaning to have an especial fondness for some activity. And it can be said of animals, men, women, or children. 10. The character 弄 has the general meaning of handling or playing with something, mocking or making fun of someone. 弄 often combines with 玩弄, to say someone is playing a practical joke or resorting to some trick. 11. The character for jade, under the ideogram for entering, 入, originally meant to put one's finest jade away for safekeeping, and now is an adjective meaning perfect, intact, complete. 全才 refers to a well-rounded individual, and 全能 means he or she is all-powerful. 12. In combination, the adverbial expression 完全 means completely, fully, entirely. For example, 你的手好了没有? 没有完全好. It's not completely healed yet. Now you will find a short quiz on double, triple character, and longer expressions. Answer using only the characters learned so far. Thank you for watching and listening.